All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Techfall Tabletalks, and I am your host as always, Julius Grit. So, in the last episode, I covered day one of the Donald Douglas Don't Call Me Mayor's Cup Championships that happened on January 25th. Well, day two came around on January 26th. So, I'm going to talk about a placement match that I felt was pretty important, pretty impactful that the match even happened. And I'm going to get into some of the finals matches. Very quick episode, not very much detail. I'm not going to go through every single match, every single weight class or anything like that. Because honestly, with the Mayor's Cup, well, that's what it used to be called. But with the Donald Douglas, what it is, it's basically an all-star game. That's literally what it is. You know, if you watch basketball, you watch the NBA all-star game, it's just an all-star game. You have to qualify to get in, similar to the NBA, right? They got to get invited to make the all-star teams for the East and the West. So it's basically a showcase of all of the private schools, Catholic schools, and public schools in New York City. And they all go at it, and the winner is deemed best in the city, but obviously we have our own individual qualifiers, right? The Catholic school wrestlers, they have Catholic states. They win that, then they go to Albany. The PSAL, they have the city championships. If they win that, the winners of that go to Albany. And the private school wrestlers, if they win their private school state tournament, they either have the choice of going to Prep Nationals, which is a very big national tournament, and becoming, the chance to become a national champ or All-American out of all the private schools in the United States. Or they can go to Albany and compete in the Division II side of the public school state championships. So that's a quick little run through of everyone's qualifications for states and the real purpose of the Mayor's Cup championships and now the Donald Douglas championships. It's just preparation for those tournaments, right? Like my high school coach even told me himself when I was in high school, it's just preparation for the postseason tournaments. That's all it really is. But it can be very significant, as you're going to see here. There are years when there's returning state champions and things like that competing in this tournament. So if you're an up-and-comer and you get the chance to wrestle, let's say a returning state champ, which happened here, and you beat that returning state champ, that's very big. That says that, in the next couple of weeks, you should be able to make some noise. That's what that says. So we're going to get right into it. So first off, Caden Noya from Farrell, he battled back for 7th place. He wrestled a collegiate kid, and he told me himself, he didn't really wrestle all that well. He didn't wrestle all that well, and he wound up losing that match, but then he battled back and got 7th place. In that 7th place match, he had a rematch against Rob McGlynn from a dual meet earlier in the season, and he wound up getting 7th place at 101 pounds. Good job for both guys for placing. They're both young. Rob's a little bit older, but they're both young, so they got time to grow. But it's real cool that both of them were able to place at this tournament. It's really cool. I hope to see a Mayor's Cup final or Donald Douglas final between these two in the next couple of years. Luke Foote from Poly Prep, he won a tough match against Thomas Edison to claim the Mayor's Cup title at 101 pounds. So that happened in the finals. Next weight class, Steven Regario does what Steven Regario does. That's exactly what I wrote in my notes. Very impressive showing to get first place at 108 pounds. And then his teammate, Brendan Sprague, at 116 pounds. He wins in an impressive showing. After that, Evan Gersoy. He got the 124-pound state title. He beat Nicky Raptors from Poly Prep. But this is an example of someone at a very high level competing at this tournament. Evan Gersoy had won a state title. He's getting ready to get another one. He just won Eastern States, right? Somebody at that high of a level competing at this tournament, if you have the shot to wrestle somebody like that, it doesn't always happen every year, but if there is a year where you're in Mayor's Cup or Donald Douglas and you have the chance to wrestle a returning state champ or returning Prep National All-American or something like that, you take that opportunity. Right? Evan Gersoy got the win now, but if if you're able to have that kind of opportunity to wrestle someone like that in a New York City tournament, you take that opportunity. But Nicky, he went on an impressive run. He wrestled really well, and of course, Evan Gersoy is going to do what Evan Gersoy is going to do. So props to him for being as dominant as he usually is. And then we have Chris Edel. He won the 131-pound state title. He's from Francis Lewis. He won 15-6. He beat Jack Borowicz from Farrell. I saw the match. It was a little controversial, with some of the calls and such. I heard that Jack wasn't exactly 100%, but what I heard, and I'll get more on this later, but it goes back to something I already mentioned, but I heard some things from his teammates about really the mindset overall and looking at everything that happened in this tournament. But to keep going here, in the last match I'm going to talk about, Leo Tansi capped off his impressive run, with the 145-pound state Mayor's Cup title. Leo looked great. And Leo had just placed the Eastern States. Now he comes into Mayor's Cup. He wins it. So Leo should definitely keep the trajectory going up. I predict that Leo Tansi, by the end of the season, he's going to do just as well, if not better, than his older brother Sean Tansi did. Sean was a state finalist. So hey, who's to say Leo can't become one himself? The top three teams by the end were Farrell with 266 points, Tottenville with 187.5 points, and then Poly Prep. They took the third place spot with 146.5 points. So I heard from one of Jack's teammates from Farrell, the 131-pound finalist, that that happened. That match went down the way it did. Jack was 100%, but Farrell won as a team. They all did what they had to do as a team. And like I said earlier, this isn't a qualifying tournament. It doesn't get anyone anywhere. It matters in the sense of its preparation for the qualifying tournaments. I'm pretty sure most people will tell you that if you ask them. I'm pretty sure a bunch of people that wrestled in the tournament, some of the names I mentioned, they'll agree with me in exactly what I'm saying. It's cool being Mayor's Cup champ and all that, but they really are just trying to prepare. So if there are any mistakes being made and such, maybe they didn't wrestle as well as they felt they could have, or whatever the case. Well, now they got to rebuild. And if they looked really dominant, they looked really good, keep that up. But it's all about preparation for the postseason tournaments, right? For the qualification tournament. So what the Farrell guys, all the Catholic school wrestlers, what they're most concerned with is Catholic States. PSL guys, Division 1 and 2, they're mostly concerned with the city championships. The private school guys, they're mostly concerned with prep states. But then if they decide to go to prep nationals or if they decide to go to Albany. I know collegiate's going to Albany. I know poly prep's going to prep nationals. So, that's really the main mindset usually. And there's a bunch of people that will tell you that themselves. So this has been your recap of day 2 of the Donald Douglas Memorial Championships. A little late, but better late than never. And February 15th, I will be at Catholic States, so stay tuned for coverage on that. Otherwise, take care.